Hey guys, I wanted to do a short video from episode 177. I had an interview with Shelly O'Brien, and she had a lot of really good topics, but one that really stuck out at me that I wanted to share with my subscribers is she had $1 million failure, and it was once again episode 177. And in that failure, she came away with a lot from it, and every risk you have your rewards. It's just sometimes it's not what you expected. And in her case, what she ended up coming away with, although it didn't work out, she learned a lot about resilience, decision making, and strategy, which became really strong tools for her future ventures. In fact, right now, her and her husband are running a construction company that's doing very well, which she talks about in the podcast. And I think the three major takeaways that I really wanted to stress on is once again, you got to learn from failures. There's a lot to be learned. In fact, you're going to learn more from failures a lot of times than you learn from when things work out. Second thing is you got to be ready to pivot. Sometimes that means closing the doors. Sometimes that means pivoting to a different direction. Pivots can be small, they can be major. Most business owners at one point or another have to decide to pivot or not. Sometimes pivoting is not the right move and it's sticking with it. But until you have that strategy and you think through and you kind of do a decision tree of the pros and cons, you really don't know whether pivoting makes sense. But in her case, with the restaurant, the pivoting was to go to do something else, no longer do that restaurant. And then perhaps the most important part is failure does build grit. So some people, they might fail and they're going to take a job somewhere and they're done. But if you stick with it, failure builds grit. I think one of my most extreme examples of where I saw grit firsthand, I had a client come to me, this was many years ago, and he came into the meeting, he was starting a new business, and he was asking me questions, he was considering hiring me. And during our discussion, he had brought up that he had already gone out of business 5 times. He had gone bankrupt 5 times. And I couldn't help but think as I was talking to him, like, oh man, well, what's different this time from the other 5 times that you failed? And about 3/4 of the way in the meeting, I actually asked him that question. I said, hey, Mr. Prospective Client, what has changed that this might be different from the other 5 times that you failed? And he literally went down each one of what he learned from each venture, lack of cash flow, didn't really have the right resources, was ahead of the market. And he talked about everything. And then when he got to the one he was doing now, he said, now let's go through that for this one. And he goes, I got plenty of cash flow. I've got several partners that can help me with the technical competence aspect. I'm right where the market's at. I might be a little bit ahead of it, but pretty much right in line of where the market's at. He went down the list. And sure enough, 2 years later, he had I think at the time it was like a $65 million company. 3 years later, he was a $100 million company and he sold it to a very large company. So that grit of staying with it really made a difference. So I just wanted to share this with you because we all go through setbacks, we all go through losses, and if we really believe failure isn't the end and it's really just a stepping stone for where you want to get, and it may cause you to pivot, maybe it may cause you to get out of restaurants and go on to the next thing, but it's something that shouldn't stop you. And so, hey, I encourage you, if you're going through a down period right now or things don't seem to be working, you're always welcome to book a meeting with me. But I also encourage you to listen to this show. It's you can find it at Think Business with Tyler. It's episode 177, Shelly O'Brien. It's a great episode, so I really encourage you to listen to it. Thanks, and I hope you are having a great one.